And for the ongoing saga with LeBron James running the Lakers and making sure that
Hmm.
the Lakers draft his son, LeBron is, doing some media stuff, doing interviews, answering questions. He's, doing Team USA. He's going to be in the Olympics with Team USA this summer. And that should be interesting to watch how the team operates. But, he's doing media because he's on Team USA. And somebody from ESPN, I think Dave McMenamin, I think that's his name. He did an interview with him, and
Hmm.
and he was asking LeBron about how Bronny is taking in the criticism and all of the noise going on, because a lot of people have a lot to say about the way that this whole thing has transpired, and people who want to assert that Bronny does not deserve to be in the league or he's not good enough. There's just a lot of people who have a lot to say. And LeBron James is basically saying Bronny doesn't really hear it. He doesn't really care, which is not like me, because when I was his age and when I was coming up, I did care. So that's one difference between me and my son is I care, but Bronny doesn't. So this says LeBron James shares how son Bronny really feels about constant criticism. Does all the negative background noise regarding Bronny James being drafted by the Lakers affect him? His father, NBA star LeBron James, has the answer and recently shared some insight into how Bronny is handling his new life as an NBA rookie. LeBron recently shared a little peek into his 19-year-old son's mindset as a newly drafted NBA player amid negative chatter. After Bronny's debut in the NBA during a summer league game, criticism, negativity, and claims of nepotism from many basketball fans were heard loud and clear. But LeBron said his son doesn't care. I don't know if people really understand Bronny. He doesn't care, LeBron told ESPN's Dave McMenamin. I actually cared a little bit when I came in as a rookie. I wanted people to like me, and some of the things that people were saying about me kind of bothered me early on in my career. I let it get to me. Bronny doesn't give a F. He further explained that Bronny works his tail off, and when he's done working, he plays video games and simply does not care about nobody. He doesn't even listen to that stuff. He's like the coolest, he continued. He's like the complete opposite of his dad. His dad will say something. Bro does not care. Everything that's being said about him, he really does not care. LeBron also painted a picture of Bronny's mindset for fans. Just imagine if you were a kid, you were born into a situation where your dad was super famous, super wealthy, and you, the kid, still had the drive to want to be able to accomplish things for yourself. LeBron told ESPN, I personally don't know if I would have been able to do that if the roles were reversed. LeBron said that when he was growing up, he had no choice, but that's not how he views things for his son. I had to make it out for me, my mom, my family, my hometown, my city. Bronny has all the choices in the world, he said. If Bronny wants to stop right now or never play basketball or just wanted to be a gamer or wanted to be a chef or wanted to be nothing to whatever, he could have done that. So you can go ahead and continue to read that. All relevant links, as always, will be in the description of this video, so y'all can check that out. But Bronny wants to set the record. LeBron wants to set the record straight that Bronny doesn't care about the criticism. So I take from those comments that LeBron believes that this better sets Bronny up for success because he is not amenable to outside noise. But what were your thoughts on LeBron James' comments about Bronny with this?
I can see that, and I agree with it. He comes off that way, and he is right that Bronny is cool, and his dad is the opposite. So he was he was he was dropping facts there. I don't. And if anybody has watched any of our Bronny type of stuff, I've made it very clear on record that of course, there's nothing against this young man. And actually, I'm feeling sorry for the guy for being in this position because, yeah, everybody wants to make it to the league, but at some point, when you go down the line of NBA players, Shaquille O'Neal, with his son, he didn't make it in. Um, Jordan, his sons didn't make it in. Wade, son, didn't make it in. Uh, even though Wade was pulling strings behind closed doors, getting him affiliated with the Jazz and getting them to try to play G League stuff, like he pulled strings on the back end, which I don't think anybody had a problem with. You know, But when we all watched Wade's son, try to make it, at least the eye test showed that, yeah, this guy's not probably going to make it into the league. And then there was always this thing of, all right, well, what's going to happen with Bronny? And it was, at least rumored that Bronny was better than Wade's son. And so it was this thing of, hey, man, Bronny looked like he probably going to make it. But then it started to, at least in my opinion, it started to lose steam a little bit as far as the eye test was concerned when I was watching him play in college. Playing his last years in high school. And then in college, I'm like, hey, man, I don't think this is going to happen. At least not at this trajectory. So I'm saying all this stuff to say is that, watching him, I don't think anybody has a problem with him attempting to try to make it into the league and to try to be a good player. The thing is that LeBron is dragging this into a narrative that's getting weird. When you grow up around LeBron and LeBron's your dad, some of the ways that Bronny answers his questions, he has a smirk on his face or this other stuff because, what else am I going to say? He's going to say LeBron James. He said, who's the player you think, what player you grew up idolizing? He couldn't say a real person. You know why he can't say a real person? Because that's going to be a headline now. That Bronny grew up not idolizing his own father, the GOAT. That he grew up idolizing Paul George. So that's going to be a problem. So he had to laugh and say LeBron James, Every time there's something like he has to bring up his own father. It's weird stuff. So him growing up in this space, seeing that this is his dad, knowing how big his dad, his ego is, he understands what's going on here. And he's been streaming. Everybody hits him up in chat. He talks to people in chat. He's well known. He's been well known so long as he's had a social media. So he's used to public interactions. So he does have a thing going with himself where it does seem like he's a lot chill in this situation than I would imagine most people would be. So I say that stuff to say, yeah, I'm not surprised that he's handling that well either. But the overall problem is the ego that I'm witnessing from LeBron James and all of this. And this is this is more of LeBron's dream than Bronny's dream. And that's my problem with this. And then, you normally, get the living through your child thing when you don't make it to the league. And this guy's living through his son in a way where it's not trying to live through him. It's using his son as a prop for his legacy.
Yes.
And that's the sick part about this. And so if the man don't make it like Wade's son didn't make it, like Shaq's son didn't make it, like Jordan's sons didn't make it, that's fine. But the GOAT can't have his oldest son not make it to the league. So you got to pull all this stuff. It's weird and bizarre, man. And so, you shouldn't trust a man like this with this hairline. And it's just like, we should have known something was wrong when he was holding on to that. We clearly saw that, but he always got to put up a front. It's no different than these females that people be talking about. Oh, y'all be wearing these weaves and wearing all this makeup and stuff. LeBron walks around with this piece on his head. Arguably the only person in the NBA right now currently who's doing that. And he's so into himself. So he's using his own son. This is the sick part. So y'all can keep the fact that he's this and that. He's the this at all time, the that at all time, or whatever all time. And he's a black man making a power move for his son. That's power. Y'all can finesse this however y'all want. This is damaging this young man if he doesn't live up to this. This is going to hurt this man for a long time, Bronny. And that's my problem with this. He got his ass busted the other day so bad that he had to low manage for the second game. Oh, he got a knee injury. So you got to sit him out the second game. He was getting towed up. What you think he going to do when Drew Holiday's out there? When Derek White's out there? He's getting busted up in Summer League. Why are you putting your son in this position? So this is my problem with all of this. So, of course, Bronny don't care about what other people say because it's your dream. So, yeah, get out of here, LeBron. I can't stand this stuff, man. He's in the Stephen A. boat to me, man. Where he's just out here just doing and saying anything. So yeah, man, I'm here to support. I'm here to support Bronny, man. You know what I'm saying? I'm not supporting LeBron and his shenanigans. So I will be cheering for Bronny just so that he don't get roasted later. Because I tell you like this, if this is like 3-4 years down the line and he don't make it, he just phases out of the league or whatever, and people call him a bust or all this other stuff, people want to throw stones at him. That's he didn't deserve any of that. So that's not coming from people hating on his father. That's coming from his father putting him in that position. So what are your thoughts, sir? Man, I can go on for an hour about this. Or Sir LeBron saying that Lil Bronny, he don't care what anybody thinks. He just gonna do him. How you feel about it?
Yeah. I hope that is true and that he doesn't care about the criticism, because
Mm-hmm.
as this thing continues, if it doesn't go picture perfect, he's going to have to incur
Mm-hmm.
the collateral damage that wasn't
Mm-hmm.
necessarily created by him. And
Correct.
so obviously if you are put into a situation in which you have to incur that collateral damage,
Mm-hmm.
your temperament for not caring about criticism is going to serve you well. So if
Mm-hmm.
that is true, then I'm happy for him. I'm glad that he's in that situation. I'm glad that
Mm-hmm.
he's in that headspace where he doesn't care,
Mm-hmm.
because it will break most people who aren't mentally prepared to deal with having to answer for situations that they didn't have to create.
Mm-hmm.
Um, what bothers me the most about LeBron's quotes is when he said, if Bronny wants to stop right now or never play basketball or just wanted to be a gamer or wanted to be a chef or wanted to be nothing to whatever, he could have done that. Right. So he's saying
Mm-hmm.
Bronny is his own person. He can make his own decisions. He is his
Mm-hmm.
own agent. He has agency over himself and his life. Right.
Mm-hmm.
So, if that's the case and this isn't about LeBron, then if all of that stuff is true and he could have done whatever and he could have taken a different route or whatever route that he wanted, what would have been so wrong with him playing college for another year?
Right.
Like why not play college for another year? Or if he's intent on going pro, just immediately go to the G League. Like why
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I understand practically why get drafted by the Lakers, get the contract, be on the roster, whatever. But in terms of what's best for him as a player in his individual development, because I would think that LeBron, as smart as the world tells me he is, and as smart as his media machine also tells me that he is, can look at his son and see that there's more development that needs to take place in terms of his individual abilities. If you can see that clearly, why not have him play at USC for another year? If you want him to go pro, enter him immediately into the G League or have him play overseas for a year or two. What's the harm in that? You're going to sign a 3-year extension. You're still going to be in the league regardless. So your dream of being able to play with him isn't going to go anywhere. But the reason why this whole thing was orchestrated, and that's the thing about it that rubs people the wrong way. See, and there was a commenter on our Bronny topic last week. I want to shout him out because he raised a good point, and I
Mm-hmm.
do agree with him. Um, Wilson Man Z, he said that this to me is a LeBron legacy ploy, and it has less to do with Bronny, and I completely agree. Like
Mm-hmm.
he can say all of that stuff and it sounds great, but the fact of the matter is, if you were really about that life, put him into the G League, send him to college for another year, or send him overseas. You'll still be in the league when he comes back. Chris Mad Dog Russo was on Dan Patrick's show, and he said right now Bronny couldn't even play for UConn, and that's true. He couldn't.
He
He
couldn't.
couldn't. He
Nope.
wouldn't be good enough to play for UConn.
No.
So my thing is, if it's about Bronny, do right by him so that you can set him up for long-term success as a pro. Because you being LeBron, the greatest player ever, not to me, the world is continuously, is more and more saying LeBron is the greatest player ever. So
Mm-hmm.
you being the greatest player ever, part of your legacy can be you're the first ever great player who put a son into the league who himself was also a great player. Like thus far, we can't really say that. You can be the first person to say that, but you wanted to put this master plan of being able to play with him on the court at the same time in place, because this has less to do about him and more to do about you. You know that there are so many holes in your greatest of all time resume that you need to fill up those holes by inventing new categories. And this is what I've been saying for years about what LeBron and what LeBron fans and these fanboys in the media do. Because they know they can't compete with 6 for 6, because they know they can't compete with getting swept by the Spurs in 2007, because they know they have no comeback for Draymond Green got suspended in game 5. And the only reason why y'all won that series is because the referees and a suspension propelled you to victory. Because he knows that he has nothing to combat. Your championship with the Lakers was in a weirdo bubble scenario where you eliminate important variables like like home court advantage and travel. Because he knows he can't compete with the assertion that you led a team in Cleveland that went 66-16 in the regular season and was the prohibited favorite to get to the finals and win that year, and y'all lost in the second round to the Orlando Magic. Because he knows that there's no combating those claims, you have to now invent new categories. And what are some of the categories that we can now invent? He's the all-time leading scorer in the history of the league. He played 50-something years and was a good player who put up good numbers in all 50 of those years. And now he got to play with his son on the same court at the same time. We're inventing new categories to reinforce this notion of him being the greatest player of all time, because the LeBron media has this insatiable desire for that to be declared a universal fact. And he's aware of this. He wants that to be true. So he's going to play along with these storylines, and he's going to orchestrate these grand, elaborate schemes using his own son in the process. So for his sake, I hope he's right, and Bronny does have thick skin when it comes to the criticism, because it's going to come. And LeBron will have no one to blame but himself. But because he is the king of all narcissists, he's not going to view it that way regardless, so it doesn't matter. But at the end of the day, this is all about LeBron. And LeBron doing everything he possibly can in cahoots with his media arm and his talent agency to further reinforce this idea that it is universally recognized that he's the greatest player ever.
Yeah, and the reason why, and if anybody's like, hey man, you gotta talk about LeBron, or listen, this stuff is forced on everybody. Nobody asks for this. If you are a basketball fan, the only thing that you're asking for is to watch basketball content. I'm not asking for LeBron 24/7. But what ends up happening is the ESPN and all these other sports networks, their main objective, it seems to be, is just talk about this guy or the Lakers or whatever team he plays on 24/7. What ends up happening is, over this past decade or so, maybe the last 15 years or so, the NBA has transitioned from people being fans of teams to being fans of players. And wherever the player goes, there goes the fan base. And right now, we have a whole bunch of fake Lakers fans because they're just LeBron fans. And to LeBron fans, everybody sucks. Hell, even AB sucks at times. Future Hall of Famer, even he sucks. Nothing is ever LeBron's fault because of his stats. And everybody else can kick rocks or burn in hell. And this is why in this last free agency cycle, nobody wanted to come. Could you imagine if Klay Thompson had that 0 for 11 whatever performance if he played for the Lakers?
Oh my God. Yeah.
He have to be on self-deletion watch. them people would be after him. DeMar DeRozan didn't want to come as much as he wanted to be a Laker in his life. I'd rather not. And so everybody's seeing that this guy who's supposed to be the GOAT, who's supposed to be this savant, the guy that makes his teammates better. Nobody wants to play with this guy. And nobody wants to be a part of the Bronny LeBron fiasco. So, but again, when this invasive thought entered his mind, about 15, 16 years ago, when he was like, you know what, I want to play with my son. I want to be the first person to ever do that. It's been on since then. And right now, what we're watching is him, much like how he bullied his way to the basket, it's him bullying everybody into this. So our reaction is more to the reaction of what the media has been forcing on us basketball fans for the last 2 decades, dog. We have not been able to enjoy basketball for real. And what ends up happening is you get fanboys instead of fans. These people love LeBron. Like, you should see the comments for all those glorious king people. Now, y'all might think it's a joke, the young people. Y'all might think it's a joke, but it was a successful inception on these young people who go around in these comment sections calling LeBron their glorious king. Like, they make these memes of LeBron where they're basically worshiping him. And the whole thing is that he's King James. He's King James. He's my king. They really say these things. No different than Beehivian Bee fans. And they're just walking around just worshiping the person. So when we get this whole thing where we talking about celebrity worship, LeBron has been doing the celebrity, the media coverage, the everything has created this creature and this entity that everybody's calling, King James and all this other stuff. And people really worship that. And then there's people that's in this realm in reality who's been seeing it since day one, who's hated it since day one, and just want to call it out. But I'm yelling out into the world of those people that don't know that they got caught up in the world of celebrity worship. We're not bashing nor hating LeBron James. What we're doing is we're bashing an agenda. And this whatever the agenda, the NBA's agenda for their backwards marketing tactics, because they don't have to do it this way. But they're latching on to this 40-year-old who's defying all things. Man, Vince Carter was the most phenomenal athlete the NBA has probably ever seen, arguably. Still jumping out the gym so much, son, he was still in the league and dunking at 40. But he wasn't playing 40 minutes a game. And people want to say that, this guy's an anomaly. He's a one-on-one. He's an outlier. Yeah, all right. So yeah, man, I'm not buying this.
Yeah.
Everybody body breakdown. Y'all saw Jordan when he was 40. Y'all saw Dirk. Y'all saw Dirk when he was 34.
Kobe.
You saw Kobe. But yet and still, this man is still high flying with no safety net. I'm not buying it, man. So I'm tired of it. I feel like the league they've crippled themselves with this business model, hanging on to this man, and it has turned the fans off. And it makes it seem like we're hating against LeBron. We just don't like this form of marketing that they're forcing on everybody. LeBron is just so happened to be the figurehead for it. And now he's dragging his son along for the charade, and I don't think it's fair. So, yeah, man. So there's no hate here, man. It's all about how they're forcing these narratives on us. So, yeah, man, the Lakers are going to be an absolute clown show this season. So, brace yourselves, everybody.
Yeah. The last thing I'll say, you brought up a great point about no one wants to play with him. The media, the LeBron media machine on the various networks, they just can't fathom a world where a free agent chooses to play somewhere other than the Lakers. It's like, why are y'all still holding on to this idea that people should want to go there to play with him? Like, and I'm gonna shout out one person in the media who does bring this up, and thank God for him. And ironically, it's a person who I used to include in the LeBron acolyte category, but Chris Broussard. Chris Broussard talks often about how guys do not want to go and be LeBron's teammate because when the inevitable failure takes place, it's the roster sucks, the coach sucks, it's always everybody suddenly sucks and is incompetent. So you need to ship this guy off because he sucks. This guy, get rid of him because he sucks. Get this free agent in there. And then you rinse and repeat this cycle over again. People aren't stupid. These guys around the league see that this is what happens. No one wants to enter into that circus. And now, when you factor in the enormous media circus that the entire season is going to be because it's him and his son on the roster together, no one wants to be a part of that. Like, no one who puts effort into mastering their craft to the best of their ability wants to willfully enter into a situation where they are going to become a LeBron also ran. And now the part about his son being a part of it as well further exacerbates the dynamic of you being a LeBron also ran. And that's in victory. If the Lakers win a championship, you're a LeBron also ran. But if you lose, it's you didn't do enough to help LeBron win.
You're a bum.
Who the hell wants to be a part of that? So I think the Lakers are getting their comeuppance for getting into bed with this nightmare situation that thankfully we were able to get out of all of those years ago being Miami Heat fans. And I feel bad. I feel bad for the real Laker fans who see this for what it is and, like me, cannot wait for this guy to move on and retire, because this is going to continue up until the day that happens. And like I said, to bring it full circle back to the original topic point, I hope for Bronny's sake what his dad is saying about him is correct, and that he does have thick skin and doesn't care about all the chatter, because it's going to come. Now, are they going to say that Bronny is one of the reasons why LeBron couldn't win? No, they're not going to go that far. That would obviously be crossing the line. But there is going to be a heightened plus LeBron's media insurgents
no
would
way.
not allow me to go that far anyway, right? But in so much that we are criticizing his career trajectory, that is going to happen. And if he has the temperament to ignore that stuff, he's best suited to deal with it, because it's going to come, and it is what it is. It's an orchestrated situation, and that's why people don't like it. That's why people don't like it. But I think people see this situation for what it is, and hopefully within the next year or two, it'll end. And we can move on to actually liking the NBA and liking basketball again.
Bring back basketball. Like, I'm done with the drama. I just want
Yeah.
sports, bro.
Yeah.
And yeah, so the NBA is selling drama and narratives, and I'm over it, man. So we'll see how crazy this season is. But if the Lakers win a championship, either in any time in this window when he's still there, LeBron's still there, I'm quitting. So
It's not gonna happen. You don't got to worry about that. It ain't gonna happen. Like I said, I think LeBron knows it's not gonna happen, which is why he's inventing new qualifiers for his GOAT claim. And so this newest qualifier is, I'm the first guy ever to play with my son at the same time in the league. Like, that's a new machination that is being invented, so that whenever you have your GOAT debate, these LeBron people can be like, he played with his son. Jordan never did that. That's what this is. That's what this is. Seriously, that's what this is about. Kobe ain't never do that. Jordan ain't do that. Magic ain't do that. It's just another one of these machinations that are being invented in his favor. That's all it is. And the quicker he can retire, the quicker we can get to that, deal with it, and then move on. So hopefully we can get to that point sooner rather than later.
Jeez. Hey, best of luck to
Bronny, man. Yeah. We both said it. Good luck, Bronny, man. Good luck, bro.
Oh, have mercy.